and now it's time for Craig Waddingham and Luke McEvoy, and it's Luke McEvoy is going to get us underway with the first break here in this 3-set match. Each set is a race to 5, and we are underway with a dry break. Craig Waddingham will get the first opportunity. 30 minutes for the set. 3 30-minute sets. 2 from 3 gets you through. And Craig Waddingham, one of the big favourites for the tournament. Don't discount Luke McEvoy. New professional this year. Snooker background, fantastic cueist. I have a feeling that Luke's going to have a big future in the game as he starts to learn his trade in the pool world. Came through a bruising encounter yesterday. 5-4, 4-5, 5-4 over Phil Parkin. Brilliant match. That's how he's got himself through. But he's going to have to sit and watch as Craig Waddingham gets his first chance. As Mark Shepherd has remained on commentary for this one. I think that's probably the right way to put it, isn't it, Mark? That a lot of people are looking at this thinking, well, Craig Waddingham's going to be a big favourite, but just don't discount Luke.
He's quite a wild card player, isn't he? Somebody that people weren't necessarily talking that much about at the beginning of the season. Came through the challenger ranks last season, did Luke. Finished 19th on the challenger. I think that probably doesn't quite tell the full story. As you say, he seems to be a very accomplished cueist, just finding his way in the pool world. One of those new pros that could really do something and do it quite quickly. Craig Waddingham's obviously a favourite for this. He's sitting right at the top of the rankings, up to 3 now, courtesy of 2 Pro Series wins at the back end of last season. But as you've said a couple of times on the pre-show, this is kind of a good format for the less experienced players, because you can break this down, just think of it as a race to 5. It just seems a bit more manageable in your head.
It's a strange one, isn't it? Because it's actually a longer match than the Pro Series matches, but it's just the fact that you can kind of break it down. You can have a blip in the middle of a match and lose it 5-0 and, you know, a set 5-0, and it only costs you a set. Whereas rather than actually, you know, 5-0 in a race to 10 is a different story.
Makes it much easier to have quick turnaround. Those very long frame matches, when you slip a few behind, it just seems like a long way back. Here, when the new set starts, it will just reset. That last match, though, what a case in point that was for how quickly a match can turn around. Looked like it was going to be very one-sided in one direction, and then ended up very one-sided the other way.
Always fear the worst when you break dry. Luke's now got himself into a position to take on a finish here, and it's one he'll fancy getting as well. Yeah, that's nice. Allows him to mop up the ones at the top and come down. Any ball to really have to worry about is the one next to the 8 ball. You've got to get underneath it, but there is plenty of room.
Longish format, however you look at it, but still the usual point about the good start applies.
Hugely disappointing shot, that one, for Luke.
Played such a good previous shot. He did really well to avoid cannoning any balls on his way past, and landed pretty much prime on that ball.
He's a brilliant cueist, very strong background in snooker, and the things that tend to let him down, as Craig gets this one wrong. Played a combination or loss a term, but whichever way he's playing, he's got it completely wrong. Go back to my point on Luke, is that, you know, he can get himself, you know, a little bit lost on patterns every now and then as he's sort of learning it and the tactical side of it, but he's getting stronger and stronger every outing. But you don't expect him to miss simple balls.
Going to be delighted to be straight back at the table. However Craig chose to play that shot, you were firmly expecting Luke was going to be in a difficult position if he was back at all. That yellow came so far away from the pocket that it opened it up for the red. As a real bonus for Luke.
Nice 3/4 angle here. Just come on and off the bottom cushion.
doesn't look entirely settled, does he? You just tell from his body language, it's just things all just feel a bit difficult at the moment.
He didn't quite get through that one. Now he's got a much more challenging shot. Worried about overhitting perhaps, and underhit it quite significantly. Still, one good pot gets him out of trouble, but that is not it.
So it doesn't matter when you miss, how much you miss by, but it's not going to help his confidence generally in the match to have got across the ball as much as that.
He sat there thinking, I'd like to start this match again. Well, he's going to get an opportunity to. What's happening out there in the opening frame?
Well, it's two of the worst shots I've seen Craig Waddingham play all season. He's played them back to back.
It looks simple. Red and 8-ball. Well, the 8-ball's not an absolute certainty, but it should just track down the right-hand side here and shouldn't have any issues, really.
This is such a gift. He's got to take it. He doesn't want to get himself under any pressure here. Just drop down, leave yourself a shot. Oh, has he overdone this?
Well, we are in a very strange situation where both players are really at it in the opening frame. This is a big surprise.
You had to err on the side of leaving that short if you weren't going to get perfect position. I think you can still see the potting angle. Well, maybe not the way he's having to swerve into this.
Oh my, what are we seeing? What are we seeing? Both players will feel like they deserve to lose this frame 3 or 4-fold, and it's still in the balance because this is far from guaranteed for Craig Waddingham.
The man at the table here has won 2 Pro Series events in the last few months. One of the best players the game's ever seen.
And even that's a poor shot from Craig. Yes, he's got the snooker, but did not want to put the yellow on the side cushion.
Luke is not going to get a better chance than the one he's just had. Ball in hand with 2 balls in fairly open play.
He puts the yellow onto the opposite side cushion. That's not as bad as the previous one, but still would like it to have stopped a couple of rolls off.
Well, the previous match opened with 3 quick-fire first visit clearances. This one, both players have had hatfuls of chances already. I think the problem for Luke is just it's going to be almost setting into a bit of embarrassment the way this has started. Not really setting him up for success with the rest of the match. Now, surely, ball in hand helpful because he can drop in behind the only difficult ball. He can go in any of the directions he's just had a look at. It's going to go top right.
I feel like nothing's a certainty here. He was tracking right centre and I was holding my breath for him. I mean, he's nowhere near it, but we've seen some bizarre things happening out there in the opening frame. Could have done with another turn of angle or a turn less angle.
Craig's a player that has made a career of making the game look ridiculously easy. It's making it look a bit harder than you'd expect so far.
If he's straight, he might not get good on this 8-ball.
You wouldn't think that'd be much of a problem because he's happy to leave everything at distance. Well, this frame has gone.
That's as good as he could do from there. So just straight 8-ball for a very drawn-out opening frame.
Taking the best part of 10 minutes to play this frame. Not because of any clever tactical shots. It's Craig Waddingham that falls over the line, though.
His reaction tells us all that's not the frame any of us were expecting to see, but Craig Waddingham has won it. As we go and dip into 𝗏𝗏 versus Danger Mouse, this is 3-3 in the deciding set, and looking very much like Liam White is about to get himself on the hill. Liam took the opening set 5-3, then runaway Rob Warren won the next 5-0. This one's been a little bit more back and forth throughout. But this is to get one away. Nicely done by Liam. We'll keep an eye on that as we're going through. I think both players, I know that Craig's won it, so he'll be the happier of the two, but I think both players will be pleased to see the back of that opening frame and try and get on and play a normal match now.
I think it'll be much easier for Craig to move on. It was scrappy, but he didn't do anything really bad towards the end of it. For Luke, it's just, if you can't win that frame, you're thinking to yourself, like, how easy a chance do you need? Whereas sometimes it can work the other way around. More difficult chance, you focus more on it. The good thing from his point of view is that he's back with a chance, but yet another simple pot goes begging.
I've seen a decent amount of Luke play this season. Came in, played in the Champions League, and we've seen him on the Pro Series. I've not seen anything like this. He's not arrived here. Whether it's being out on the main, feature table, or whether it's just he's having a bad day, but he's just not turned up at all so far.
And you can see he's feeling it, head in hand again as he goes back to his corner. It's not just the fact he hasn't been winning frames, but he's just made some really elementary mistakes. Plenty of time, obviously, to make amends. And it's you hardly want to be looking at this thinking, if I lose a set, it's not a problem. But at least, in theory, you're allowed one set to go the wrong way, as we see another error creeping in.
And Craig is one of those players you see so little reaction from, but he's raging out there.
All just compounding right now. He's looking a long way from his usual composed self, even though he is 1-0 up.
Yeah, looking at Craig, question, this is his first match in the tournament, didn't have to play yesterday. I know he would have spent some time on the practice table, getting used to conditions, the elements out there. Yes, it's the same as most events you play, but different building, different setup and everything else. But he would have spent some time to get used to it. Oh, nearly. So I'm kind of trying to make an excuse for him that maybe he's just getting used to the conditions, but it shouldn't take him too long.
Well, especially now, Brass on Apollo table becoming the standard for matches, so it's not like we're saying what table are we playing on this week. Everyone knows what the table's going to be like. The venue is a lovely arena here, so no real distractions. There's games going on around, but that's a format that all the players are well used to. Sometimes you can overanalyse it. It's just get off to a scrappy start, and when one player starts playing a few bad shots, the other one can so easily end up doing the same. The thing about great players is how they adapt to this. You don't have to be brilliant all the time, but you just have to have a B game that still competes. If things do go badly, you've just got to find a way of regrouping before it's too late in a match.
Luke can land fairly straight in on the yellow. Could do a couple more rolls. Maybe a touch short. Maybe could have done with an extra roll or two.
Going to judge this. Doesn't want to slip between the gap of the red and the yellow on the left-hand side.
Played it okay. That's why I thought if he gets straighter on the yellow he's just played, then the one along the bottom cushion is a much more controllable cannon into the red and sort of ends up in the same position. But that was a nice controlled cannon.
Primarily, you'd say this is a fairly straightforward positional shot. Play the one along the rail and just pull the cue ball out. He's missed a couple of shots that are really easier than this already.
Just guard against finishing straight. Straight means you might not get too close to the 8-ball. Half a turn of angle and you're just stunning up the line. That's exactly what he's got.
This has been better. Played a sensible safety shot. He's looked a lot more composed since he's been in for this finish. And if it does go to 1-1, both players are going to feel settled. Not going to be delighted with the way the match has gone, but something to work with at least.
Yeah, that was much better from Luke McEvoy. He's on the board. Both players now are. It's taken some time as we dip back into the other match going on right now. And this is a deciding frame. So Rob Warner won the previous frame to get back all square, and he's in with the opportunity to win a classic here. Where's the 8-ball going? It's a double for it, but is the yellow in the way?
May have to put a bit of extra pace.
And they're in 15 seconds a shot, so he's having to run around the arena. So he's gone for the double into the bottom left corner. His chance has gone. Will he get another? The 8-ball has just got in the way of one of the yellows. Not a guaranteed out that for Liam White. We will be keeping an eye on that as they go through that frame. Liam White has dodged a bullet and may have an opportunity to get the victory. That's in the same round as this, which is winners round 1. And the losers of these matches will go into the loser half of the draw. So there is still ways back into the tournament for the losers of the matches. But that one will hurt if Rob doesn't get another opportunity.
Don't know if he'd have played quite that shot if he'd had a bit more time. But just the shot clock counting down. Had to go for the double.
Let's see if winning the previous frame will settle Luke down. It was a nice counter in the previous frame. Now he's got a chance for a first visit. It's a decent one. Looks like he's just off angle on this one, the wrong way. Just going to dip back across because he laid the snooker to get himself this opportunity. This is a big shot. This will feel like match ball. Oh, and it goes.
That was a really good bit of cueing under the pressure he's under. And this is going to be a tough one for Rob to swallow.
It really will be. Liam White's going to get the victory. He's going to go on to tonight's winners qualification match. Great match all the way to a decider. Rob Warren will have to come back and try and get it done in the losers' side of the draw. Plenty more work for him this afternoon as we return to our match. The problem with this yellow is, yeah, he's not going to get good on the next yellow. You can't come down. I mean, perfect is straight in on the yellow, either bottom left or bottom right, but more likely bottom left, but you can't get there. Have to leave it high, therefore he's going to have to use bottom cushion, side cushion, and avoid the red and judge the pace. Is the red in play? It looks close. It looks like it should just slide by.
Yeah, it's one of those ones, you just catch it a bit thick or you put a bit of extra pace in. Could easily bring it into play.
He did, but he gets away with it. Played that dead weight, allowed it to go on as narrow a line as possible. The firmer you play those shots, the wider it will throw.
Ended up being pretty much the dream cannon on the red.
Yeah, lands perfect.
I mean, he had played it kind of like that, and a thin touch was always likely to be okay. This is better. Had to do a bit more in this frame. It's more composed this time around.
One of those situations you feel Craig wins the very scrappy 10-minute opening frame. You think that will settle him in. It's actually Luke that settled into the match off the back of it more than Craig. He missed his chance in frame 2 and didn't get a look in on frame 3.
Now it's going to be a set that's very unlikely to go the distance because so much time was wasted with that first frame. 12 minutes remaining of the original 30.
Just looking around the tables this morning. If you're just joining us, the big news this morning is the #1 player is out. Lost first round yesterday to Josh Juaz. He has lost again this morning, 5-1, 5-2 against Jimmy Croxton. Not the weekend that Tom Cousins was looking for, not by any stretch. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 has found a victory that was very much needed for the British Open champion. He's won 5-3, 5-3 against Chris Hampson, so that eliminates Chris. And Shauna Ash has lost 5-0, 5-1 to 𝗨𝗽𝗱𝗏𝗏. Disappointing weekend for the new professional. Sean and Ole has responded to losing a very tough match against Neil Rayburn yesterday, losing the deciding set 5-4 from 4-0 in front. The only other match currently, in fact there's a few matches that have just gone on, but from the loser round this morning, Simon Fitzsimmons and Ben Doyle are all square, 5-4, 5-4 and 4-4. They're in a deciding frame.
Some games you just feel are destined to go all the way. You just get matchups of players who seem to be so evenly balanced. That's a pretty good advert for this set format. 2 5-4 sets and then get their money's worth in that decider.
What's amazing to me is that one of Simon or Ben are going to lose and be eliminated from the tournament. We talk about these feeling like short sets. But one of them is going to lose having won 13 frames.
It just feels really tough as well when you lose. I mean, it feels like kind of the beginning of the tournament still. We're just into Saturday afternoon, but it feels early in a weekend to be out of it. Some players will take the positive that they're off able to do other things.
They get their weekend back. Yeah, it's not what they wanted, but they get their weekend back.
No one really travels to an event with that mindset though to start with. May well have it after they've lost. They want to obviously be involved as long as possible.
Big shot here for Craig. Right off yellow, open everything up and then try and get back on and find some positivity. And it's gone horribly wrong again. Just can't get anything going as we tick into the final 10 minutes. Yeah, Luke just checks out the match clock there. It's a good shot from Craig just to contain. Reds all go, and it's difficult to find a safety shot here for Luke.
Try to get back in similar position where he came from, couldn't quite get that far across. Made it difficult at least for Craig. A couple of balls he can go after, but stopped him having an easy opener. He does pot the first red though. Oh, in fact, he could get through to the one over the middle. That's made all the difference. Surely now, this is the chance Craig wanted to settle into this set. Still only 3 frames completed, 21 minutes played. Speeding up now. This is exactly the kind of settler he wanted. Just a few relatively straightforward balls. It's not been vintage Craig Waddingham by any means, compared with the standard of play we've seen from him in the last few events.
He'll just be pleased to get back on terms and still be in this set. Not being the start he wanted. There is the bouncer, Simon Fitzsimmons. You can't tell by his facial expression, but he was a very happy man as he has just won the 14th frame for him in the match to win 2 sets to 1. 5-4, he won the first, lost the second set 5-4, won the third 5-4. And there is the ring a row. John in the foreground. He's currently in action, trying to find his score. There he is. He's playing Jaden Billingham, and he's 3-1 down in the opening set. Here's John.
Jaden, one of the players that was busy practicing, or he was waiting for that match. A couple of practice tables. Obviously, a lot of players looking to get their arm going before their matches. It's a set that can go either way, not just because of the standard of play so far, but also the set dramatically shortened by the match clock now, so may only have time for a couple more frames. The player looking entirely confident in either their shot selection or their body language when they're at the table. Although if you're a player like Craig Waddingham, who's obviously got aspirations of winning the title, you can't play your best all the time. If you're ever going to play badly, if you can play less well early on and still come through the match, you've got time to build from there. I feel like for Luke, he's going to have to get going a bit quicker. This is going to be a pretty tough match for him. If he could just nick this set, give him a little bit of confidence.
Cue ball. Oh, rejected. Rejected away from the pocket. Lucky boy.
Wonder if the shot clock might help both of them as well. The fact they're going to be forced into thinking a bit less about things and just playing a bit more on instinct.
Frees you up just a little bit, doesn't it? I mean, that's making it sound easy. It's not. It's hard at 15 seconds a shot, but sometimes just can be a good tactic if you're playing and not quite happening. Just kind of speed your own play up just a touch. Forced to in this situation.
Category of shot that he should normally be good at, coming from the snooker background. Really, this ball is the only missable one you'd feel out of the last three. Natural angle now on the remaining yellow to land nicely on the 8 ball. Well, it felt like if he just played that naturally, he was going to land nicer. He's put a bit more pace in and come between the shots.
Just one turn far enough to not really be too worried about it. And then it goes. And he gets himself back in front. It's 3-2. He's 2 away from winning this set, but it's more about the match clock. 5:56 remains. No golden breaks in play. So we're kind of looking at run-outs, really. It's not been that sort of match, but 5:56, you can kind of, without talking about crazy finishes, you're kind of looking at 3 off the break, maybe max. 4 if you throw in a couple of really quick ones, but more likely to be 2 or 3. But this hasn't been that sort of match.
So Craig Waddingham's 3rd break of the match. Hasn't been quite the usual delivery so far with the previous 2.
Not the best of cut breaks either. It's a great result, but he caught that very thin. Shake of the head. He's not got a good first ball. Does have a red down the table. He has a couple of reds down the table. I don't think he has a yellow on, so if he wants to go for a finish, forced to go reds. Reds aren't terrible, though. Every red has a pocket, at least. This will tell us how he's feeling. Big shot, this one. Can't just drop it in. You've got to force the cue ball out. Yeah, very nice.
It's become a big frame as well. In fact, there's quite probably not time for too many more after this. Means that a 2-frame lead would be massive. Should be in good shape here though to get things back on level terms.
Nice to leave the low angle. Get yourself off the top cushion, somewhere straight. In on the left centre is good. Doesn't want to be short because then you've got to play a cannon. Yeah. It's better to be there than to be short. You can drop this in and pocket weight's good. I mean, he would like to have been a couple of rolls off the cushion, but we'll take it. No. So the previous shot being a couple of rolls short or a couple of rolls pacey, depending on which way he played it, meant he was further away from that ball, which has forced the miss. That could be a very big moment in the opening set here. Luke McEvoy, with 4 minutes to play, has got a counter clearance to go too clear that should all but wrap up the set.
This is an ideal match situation. The fact that he took a bit of time on that clearance, he used some of the time up, so now effectively this frame is probably for the set unless something dramatic happens.
Natural pace, he uses, what, another minute on this, so that leaves 2.5 and 2 frames in front. So I'm with you. This is all but for the set.
And to give him credit, he has looked a lot more assured since that first frame. A lot went wrong in that first frame, but he has regrouped since then.
First frame aside, he's been the better player, no doubt. First frame was so bad from both of them that it was quite jarring. Used up nearly 10 minutes. Since then, Luke's played well. He's 2 balls away, getting himself on the hill. Just comes back off, just probably thinking about should I run the clock down or not. Probably should have done a little bit more, but it probably won't make any difference. 2:27 left, 2 in front, just about. Chance for 2 quick run-outs for Craig Waddingham. Just about, but it's unlikely. We're on table 2. We're already back underway with our next match. Ryan Pisani is 1-0 up and has the break in frame 2. He's taken on Sean Chipperfield, who we didn't see at the Pro Series. Good to see him back. First event he'd missed with Ultimate Pool. Good to see Sean back in action. And he's going to get an opportunity here in the second frame. 𝗏𝗃𝗏𝗏𝗏, world champion of a couple of years ago. He's won in the opening set against Matt Cook in a decider. Trails in set 2, 2-1. As making a ball off that break all but deals with the opening set. So you have to say, what a turnaround from the opening frame where Luke McEvoy, you just felt that the ball in hand with 2 balls left mistake, you felt like that was going to haunt him for a long time, and he just hasn't allowed that to be the case.
Yeah, it wasn't just having several chances, it was just they were so good. And yeah, that ball in hand one particularly, I mean, it wasn't an absolute formality, but it was one that you just have to make sure of at this level. You must also be feeding off the fact that not only has Craig not played at his best, but he's just looked a little bit more agitated than you ever normally see from him. Luke, meanwhile, is looking calmer than he did at the beginning. Looks like he's settled into the match. And this is almost a practice frame now. Using up the time is good enough to get the set one. Able to just go for the clearance with a lot of freedom.
Lovely little angle on this one as well. Just a bump across, very nice. He's going to beat the clock here and get the set one, 5-2. Yeah, he is now, for sure. Very good performance from frame 2 onwards for Luke McEvoy. And he's going to take the opening set against Craig Waddingham. A very intriguing opening frame that went Craig Waddingham's way, and that was just about all that went Craig Waddingham's way as Luke McEvoy gets the opening set here at the Players' Championship. Right, we're ready to get back underway on our game here. Craig Waddingham to start set number 2. If you are watching on Facebook, thanks for your company. We will be leaving you shortly. There is a promo code on the link on Facebook if you'd like to come and join us on Ultimate Pool TV. Use your promo code to get a discount on your first month or your first year's order. Plenty of pool coming over the course of the next 12 months. You all know that. And of course you get to watch the rest of this weekend, which is already a day and nearly a day in. We're almost 24 hours in. It's already feeling very intriguing with our number 1 player already eliminated, who is going to walk away with the Players' Championship trophy.
It's a kind of intriguing format. It's got a bit more jeopardy than some of the formats we've used where there's been a group stage. Some of the better players you feel like they're almost bound to get through. Here, as we've seen from the fact that Tom Cousins is out already, even the best in the world can find themselves on the wrong end of the quick scoreline. I like the format as well, coming back with the last 16 tomorrow. Feels like you're sort of playing for that finals day.
I always think there was half a pocket there for Luke. Doesn't work for him. I always think with double elimination, it's always, and I asked Sean Story this question when I was in the arena with him a little bit earlier on, it's sort of, if you can get yourself to the winner's qualification match, then you kind of get 2 bites at the cherry to get yourself into the last 16 or the whatever the single elimination is, but it's last 16 in this event. I just think it's a really good way of kind of mentally getting yourself to a good point. The earlier you lose in a double elimination, the more work you have to do. Essentially, for every match, you've got to win 2. The bad things keep going wrong here for Craig. It's not happening for him out there. Yeah, just to put it into context, to those that aren't aware, in double elimination matches, if you lose round 1, then you've got to win a loser round to then play the losers of winner round 1. So essentially, kind of every match, you've got to win 2 matches to get to the same point. Recovery pot not there for Craig Waddingham. Leaves it wide open for Luke McEvoy to get himself off to a solid start here in set 2.
And this is the bit of the match that really matters. This is a good chance. He's been gifted a few in the first set. He's got that set wrapped up now. If he can get off to a good start here, then all the pressure's on his opponent. It's kind of like a bonus chance. Knows he's going to have at least 2 sets to get the match won, but how much would he prefer to do it the first time of asking? Especially where Craig is still just looking a bit edgy. That last shot, he was a little bit unlucky with the way the cannon played out, but you just know when he slips into that gear, he's absolutely unplayable. Luke can just keep reeling off the frames, just keep Craig a little bit colder.
Keep the bad things happening for him.
Yeah, at the moment, Craig sort of looks like he's expecting bad stuff to happen, which is it's not normally what you see from Craig. He's so good at putting things out of his head when they do go wrong. Just come a couple of rolls further than he was intending, but still space to recover.
A little bit thinner than his ideal, but there's plenty of room for the cue ball to land in. It just won't be perfect on the 8 ball. He's trickier on the 8 ball than he wanted. And he hit that. I thought he'd overcut it. Just drops in off the thin jaw, and the cue ball at least stays in the open. It could have gone worse. And still knocks in the 8 ball. Gets the opening frame here. All things going his way right now. Craig Waddingham not firing at all. 𝗨𝘁𝗰𝗵 has work to do. Sean did win frame 3 and he's at the table in frame 4. The way he's looking there must be on yellows, and those 3 yellows are no good. Sean, one of the clever players at working out these sorts of situations, but in this occasion it's just firing with pace. The cannon worked, the pot did not.
One of those ones where you just focus on where the white ball's going. Took his eye off the pot. So 1 set to the good, 1 frame to the good in the second set. And looking a lot more relaxed between frames as well. Yellow ball has dropped, so first chance for Luke McEvoy.
Looked like he was desperately looking to see if he could be yellows. Don't know whether he can get through to the yellow over the pocket, and if he can't, then he's going to have to go reds, although he doesn't really have a good red on either. Yellows are nice here, if he can get through. Yeah, he certainly can. It's a really good chance for 2-0.
There's quite a number of new professionals this year. It's always difficult emerging from the ranks. Everybody knows that all the upcoming pros are nearly always good players because it's hard to qualify. You've come through big challenger fields. But it's just making that next step. You just need to have a run in a tournament, just kind of prove to yourself that you are able to compete at this level. And it's been a season of that. We've seen not necessarily unlikely tournament winners, but Aaron Davis definitely been in that queue for maybe almost too long from his perspective, waiting to win, and then got that Pro Series win in Wigan a few weeks ago. 𝗘𝗃𝗵𝗵 was maybe a slight surprise winner of the British Open. It's feel like the big name players maybe haven't had it all to themselves this season.
We've been saying for a long time there's a lot of depth in the pool world, and I think we're really starting to see it this year. Luke left himself too much angle up the table, so he's had to play actually a very good shot to get back into nice position. Looked nervous on that one for a minute. Thought he'd missed it going off body language, but drops in.
You watched that first frame, he didn't look like a man that was expecting to win this match. When he got the first set on the board, he looks just a lot calmer out in the arena. Two 2-0 to the good now in this race to 5. Sort of serenity as he's sitting in his seat. Knows the job's by no means done, but this is as good a position as he could have put himself in. He's also the player with undoubtedly more momentum at the moment. Craig Waddingham's break is normally a real weapon for him. Been inconsistent at best so far.
I just feel like nothing's happening for Craig. Needs something positive to happen. This match is going to get away from him.
Better struck that time. He caught his previous break far too thin. That time he got a better contact.
And every ball goes. He's got a run out here on reds. I'd like to be on the red nearest the yellow on the left-hand side here. Especially if the other red drops in, passes the red to right centre, because you can just drop it in. I'm not sure if it does or whether he has to force it a touch. Let's see how he works it. Get this one out the way first, and then it definitely goes. He's going to have to go another way. He's just not getting the cue ball, is he? He's played on the red bottom left there, and he's full ball snookered on it.
That's the kind of thing that is going to frustrate him. He's normally so tidy positionally.
What's worrying for him is that the cue ball only moved 6 inches, and he's hit it twice as hard as he needed to. He's really struggling with his cue ball. Whoever does it once again.
It's almost like a game where you're playing on an unfamiliar table and you're critical of the table. The cloth's maybe not what you're used to, but that's not the case here at all. These are pretty immaculate playing conditions. Looking to reroute down the table now.
Not getting on the ball earlier on just means he's working hard here at the back end. Oh, he's not working at all. He's not on anything. Misses the pot, and another disappointing visit to the table for Craig Waddingham.
Right now, it doesn't matter what the shot is, you're just not 100% confident when he gets down for anything.
It's as poor a performance as I've seen from him in his whole time with Ultimate Pool, really. I've not seen every match, of course, but very rare to see him fall this low in his form. Take nothing away from Luke McEvoy, who I think has been fantastic from frame 2 onwards, or from his second visit on frame 2 onwards.
Craig's also the kind of player that can just snap and he'll be good again. He's very good at putting things out of his mind. But obviously, time is somewhat running down for him.
He was trying to make that off using the yellow to clear the pocket. Not quite worked for him, but he has at least blocked the yellow, or it looks like it. Luke's having a look to see whether it goes. So there's definitely not an easy counter on here for Luke. He's going to have to really play a couple of good shots and get left side of those line in the middle of the table and deal with the one on the left-hand side.
Maybe that nudge has just pushed that yellow far enough that it could just be squeezed past the red that's near the pocket. Obviously not in position to do that just yet. Still got to finish, but she's having to chase after it a little bit. Pretty much where he was hoping to have ended up in the previous shot. Just wanted to land on the ball to the bottom right with a bit more angle. Now he's got a decent angle. It's not perfect, but it's got options here.
I feel like he's odds against from this situation. It's tough. It's going to take at least 2 good shots. Well, he's decided this yellow goes. And that changes things. My assumption all the way through this visit is this yellow doesn't go. But he needs to use the red. Can't just make it clean. I don't think that's a possibility anyway, but well, big shot in the context of the match. This is for 3-0 in set 2. Doesn't fall.
The problem he had there was he couldn't just play it pocket weight. I think a thin clip off that red would have given it more of a chance, but he had to get the red out of the way as well. He's done some of what he needed to, at least from his perspective. He's created some congestion around the red bottom centre of the table.
I felt like he wanted that to go more than he really believed it went, and if it was that tight, then when he had all his balls on the table early on, there must have been a clever loss of turn. Maybe he had to pot a ball to get to the right-hand side of the table to then play a loss of turn while hiding the cue ball potentially. He felt like there was better options there than trying to take on that finish. He needs to avoid the 8-ball, and he has. That's an excellent shot, possibly even the best he's played in the match. If he flicks the 8-ball there, he leaves the yellow on.
And that one shot has really turned this frame around. It's hard to see a route for Craig to the winning line a moment ago, but now all the pressure on Luke. He needs to make something happen with this shot. Got a chance to come close to the pot, but it's not easy.
It's a really good result for Luke. I think the containing shot here is to clip off the red into yellow. Yellow goes behind the other red, and cue ball up behind the other red at the top of the table. He's left the yellow on, has he? He's just gone far enough. That's an excellent. The reason I was saying put the yellow behind the red is because you've got kind of more margin, but Craig went the other way, and the riskier way, which was to try and play a shot to leave the reds on.
And this is tougher than the previous shot because he's got a lot of traffic near that yellow.
That should be the frame for Craig Waddingham.
Pretty much the worst result there. None of the balls were very difficult, but the fact that he's now pushed the other red into the centre of the table makes this a complete formality under normal standards for Craig. Not very often you say Craig will be relieved just to get a frame on the board, but the way this last set and a half has gone, you take nothing for granted.
Just the third frame that Craig Waddingham has won in the match, but at least he's got a frame on the board here in set 2. This is an 8-ball for the opening set for 𝗠𝗁𝗃𝗃. A very good performance from Chippy to take the opening set against Ryan Pisani, 5-1, and Ryan won the opening frame as well, so 5 straight for Sean. Very much one of the top players, 𝗠𝗁𝗃𝗃, been ever present in the upper echelons of the ultimate pool rankings from day one.
Just a player that everyone loves to watch as well. Quick attacking style. It's going through a phase where it felt like he was going to become the nearly man a bit more than he wanted to. Just kept getting to semi-finals, just falling short of things. Did then win a Pro Series, which must have been a relief to him.
Yeah, he's won just well, he's had an incredible number of semi-finals and quarter-finals. It took a while to get that breakthrough win. That's done and dusted now. And he'll be dangerous for the tournament this weekend, no doubt, as we thought this man would be, but that's not proving to be the case yet. All in hand following the scratched break from Luke Mcevoy. Craig has had opportunities like this in the match and just consistently lost the cue ball. So he can find his touch a little bit better.
Comes into this as the 3rd ranked player in the pro rankings. Number 1, Tom Cousins, out already. The other contender with him near the top of the rankings. Winner last time out in the Pro Series, Stevie Dempsey. He's just kicked off his match against Chris Day. A lot of quality all around the room. John Rowe, former world champion, is in action against Jaden Billingham. 1 set down though in that match. 𝗏𝗡𝗅𝗍𝗏𝗏, young man making a name for himself pretty quickly. It's better meanwhile from Craig.
Needed that. I mean, I know he won the previous frame, but he needed a real positive first visit. Just get that touch, get that feel, get that positivity, and gets a pat on the back from Aidan Mevlett, social media manager, the apprentice.
Taking on a new role, motivating the players between frame.
Yeah.
Well, it does feel like Craig almost does need a pat on the back, just something to G him up here.
Yeah, I feel for balance that next time that Luke McEvoy wins a frame, we need to send Aidan out to give him a pat on the back as well, just for balance.
Always looking to innovate for the players, a new service we can offer.
13:08 left in set number 2. One that Craig Waddingham needs to win, or at least avoid defeat at worst.
There is Jaden Billingham that I was just talking about, looking on in the background. Nice setup this at the venue. It's obviously a permanent setup rather than some of the arenas we go to where we set it up just for the events. This main arena table in amongst a load of other tables, so everyone can keep an eye on it as they're playing their games. Wants to keep some momentum going here. Obviously in a precarious position. It's 2-all, but it's a 2-all that can get away from you quite fast with only 12 minutes remaining on the clock. If he can just keep himself ahead in this set, he'll just feel a bit more comfortable. Going to a 30-second shot clock at the moment. In a minute and a half's time, we'll be dropping down to the quicker 15-second shot clock.
A little bit of indecision there from Craig. Ideal world, you'd love this to have been your last ball. Doesn't want to risk hitting that gap. And that will do nicely. Now he's got the natural 2-cushion line to come on the 8 ball, which was his plan from the start.
Quite go as far as saying normal service is resumed, but this is definitely closer to it from Craig.
What he'll be thinking to himself, though, is if I can just steal this set, get myself into set 3, you can sense that he's getting more confidence with the cue ball with every frame that goes by.
Yeah, and the fact that he'd be the one coming back into it, you've got to feel if you can force that deciding set, you've got to start it as a bit of a favourite.
Just joined Ryan Pisani with a very disappointing miss there. He's lost 6 straight frames, and he's staring a 7th in the face here. He was very much going 𝗠𝗁𝗃𝗄𝗏𝗏's way. 5-1, he won the opening set, 1-0 up already. Chance to go 2-0 there. That match can get away from Ryan Pisani very quickly and send the Maltese into the loser's side of the draw.
Getting more chances as well, which is a key factor for Craig.
Mr. Cannon missed his cannon on this occasion.
Ordinarily, Craig looks at these kind of positions and you just feel like in his head he sees a route. He just naturally knows how he's going to open things up. All the way through today, it's just been a little bit more laboured. Can't really blame him for bailing out, of course, from the position he was in. No point going for anything too adventurous, especially having opened up that lead. So that chime in the background denotes that we are in the last 10 minutes of the match. After this shot's been played, we'll hear the referee announce that.
No need for panic at this stage from Luke. He's only one behind in this set and has that buffer of winning the opening set. So win this tactical exchange and get all square. Doesn't have to rush it, even though we're in the final 10 minutes.
Extension called.
We wouldn't have had as much experience playing under the 15-second shot clock as Craig has. All the top pros have adapted pretty well to it. Much like in the first set, the 6th frame ends up being quite a big one, because it's going to be the difference between 4-2 and 3-all. A good angle here if he wants it. You can play the ball to the left centre and then naturally get down into the cluster. Played it in a positive way. It's one of those ones where you weren't quite certain enough about the outcome that you want to play it too delicate. Felt like you just wanted to get some pace in and try and get the cue ball clear again of the cluster. That turned out bad, but that shot has come up a bit short. Now he's got to do a bit more. He's going to have to go after the difficult ball now because he's not landed nicely on the one in the middle of the table.
And that won't fall. Hasn't left it as a certainty for Craig, although if he can get through to the yellow left centre it helps because it will deal with the trickiest 2 balls back to back potentially. No, he can't, so a finish you expect him to get because it's Craig Waddingham, but it's certainly not a guarantee.
Not the way he's played today, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But you would have to say in the last 2 or 3 frames he's looking much better. That's always the way top players just grow in confidence. See that, this is back to a more normal performance. He's taken 2 long shots on already in this frame. Pretty comfortable with both. In his own head, he's just thinking, if he can force this decider, crisis averted, treat it as a straight race to 5.
Slightly awkward angle here, but leaving a low angle on the yellow isn't the end of the world because you can play the 3 cushions onto the 8 ball. He's going to play this one now. Wow, that's how poor that previous shot was. That's a nice recovery though. The yellow going to the opposite corner definitely helped. He played the pace perfectly. And he's certainly a player today that we've seen really struggle with the cue ball, but judged up and down the table. And this to go 2 in front with 6 to play. 6 minutes to play, that is. He'll be 1 frame away from winning the set without the match clock being a factor. Bit of housekeeping while we're waiting for the balls to be re-racked. Aidan Hughes has completed victory in the loser's side of the draw against Vivek Mak. 2 sets to 1, 5-3, 3-5, 5-1. He won the decider. As we see Ryan Pisani back at the table off the back of a poor run of form. He did actually win that previous frame, so Sean had a chance for 2-0 in set 2, didn't take it, and now Ryan's back in here to get in front in set 2. So maybe the Maltese starting to forge himself back into the match. Plenty of matches going on around the room in the winner's side of the draw now. Josh Joaz and Sean Sharkey are 1-1 in the opening set. Joe Prince has won his opening set against Tom Jones 5-1. Brian Halcro's taken an early lead against Carl Cope 2-1. Christy Caulfield 3-2 up over Neil Raybone. Stevie Dempsey 3-1 up over Chris Day. We already knew that Jaden Billingham had won the opening set 5-3 from 3-3 against John Rowe They are 1-1 in set number 2. And Callum Singleton's taking the opening set against Daryl Whitworth. John McAllister and Carl Sutton are just getting going in the opening frame as Craig overruns his positional shot. Deals with the problems on reds. Now he has to solve the 8-ball. Although, worst case scenario, he'd have a double on it. It does double to right centre. He was always going to try and move it.
Now just one pot away from prime position. Play the plant next. Now he's done everything to unlock these balls.
He'd love to be on the red past the 8-ball, but he's not. Could become a problem if he doesn't get underneath this red. Got the side on, made sure he got underneath it. Still has to judge the pace of this one. And he hasn't. Nowhere near on this occasion. He actually got too deep into that one for me. You kind of, the further left you go, the bigger the window of being on the red is. Beautiful recovery. No, won't drop. Has done some good work on the match clock though, Craig Waddingham, on this occasion. So 2 frames in the next 4 minutes. So he's going to just take on this counter clearance. It's not an easy one, but he's going to take it on because of the match clock.
No choice. That decision taken out of his hands by the time, which in a way removes some of the pressure, because it's not like he's thinking, should I be playing a safety? He just knows he's got to manufacture something. It's one of those clearances that's going to get harder towards the back end though. He's going to have to try and land on the ball that's in the centre of the baulk cushion in such a way that he can get round and back out again. All the 8-ball, if that is his last ball. Oh, he's pushed that one onto the near jaw though.
Yeah, it means he's going to have to go and set himself for set 3, because he's gifted Craig Waddingham the opportunity he needed just to take the set clock out of play. And in it goes. So a good response from Craig Waddingham. 2-1 down. Was he 2-0 down actually at the start of this set, and was able to claw himself back into it. He found some rhythm and he ties the scores up. 1 set apiece. 1 more set to go. 30 minutes for a place in the winners qualification round later on today. In the second frame of the second set, he's responded well as we return to our match and the deciding set between Luke McEvoy, who is going to go off on his opening break here in set number 3 against Craig Waddingham, who has turned the momentum round, and it's all going his way now.
And this is going to be the test for Luke. Slightly strange first set. I think if anything, Luke actually possibly played better in the second set than he did in the first. It's just the standard of play had lifted up generally. Nicely poised though. Started out as a 3-set match, now it's just a straight race to 5. All outcomes still possible. Either player can get to 5. Draw still a possibility if the clock was to get down to 0. Seems like the pace of play has sped up a bit, so right now that's looking less likely. Oh, that was a nudge he could have done without, but he'd still be okay with the ball to the centre. Better from Craig over the course of the last few frames, making the game look really difficult in set 1 to make it look much easier in the second set.
We saw a little more emotion from Craig, not much than we normally do, but he looks a different player now than he did a little bit earlier on. Certainly, start of set 2, end of set 1, he just didn't look himself, but hung in there. Starting to flow a little bit more like his normal self now.
Could easily turn around into a positive, to be honest. He's got off to a bad start, he's got away with it.
Having said that, he's not played the best of positional shots here. Big shot required on the 8 ball. This looks tight into the left centre. From the overhead, it doesn't look on at all, but it must do. He could go up top right if he wanted to. Could have played for it top right if he wanted to. And it goes. Excellent 8 ball. And he takes the opening frame with a reverse clearance. He'll have the next break. Back to check in with Ryan Pisani, who's got himself a chance to get himself on the hill in set number 2. 1 ball to work out. Looks like he's got a good angle to deal with that. While we're watching this, just also check in with his countryman 𝗏𝗃𝗲𝗿, who won the opening set against Matt Cook. He lost set number 2, 5 frames to 2, which means we're into a deciding set in that match as well. In fact, they're in frame 3 as it's 1-1 in set 3. And that should be good enough for 4-1 for Ryan Pisani in that frame. We'll keep an eye on that as we return to Craig Waddingham, who has a chance off his own break in frame number 2.
Yeah, another brilliantly struck break, but outcome's okay. That's going to be where he starts getting really dangerous. He starts getting balls off his own break. Nowhere near as much of that as we'd expected at the front half of the match.
The ball doesn't land. Yellows are no good here, so it's not the end of the world for Craig, but he's allowed Luke into the frame. If the double goes in, you expect Craig to clear.
Extension call.
Desperately wanted to go for something positive there. Wasn't a guaranteed plant by any means. Leaves the chance for the counter clearance. What about this first shot? That's just a much better bit of cueing early on. Everything just looked a bit laboured. That's way back to his usual standard. To get that read out, couldn't quite see the potty angle if he just dropped it in, so had to play it a bit firmer. Be more than satisfied with the outcome. So playing noticeably quicker, seems to be relaxed into the match. This is the winner's side of the draw, so both of these players have got the opportunity of a second chance, whoever loses the match. So we were talking about early on though, just so valuable. This match gets you into the winners qualifier, which is not until later this afternoon, so you can go off, enjoy lunch, and know you're coming back with 2 chances to qualify for finals day tomorrow. If you win that winners qualifier tonight, that gets you through to the last 16, or if you lose it, you go through to the final losers side qualifier. not always the easiest to follow the draw in double elimination tournaments, but the basic gist of it is that everybody wants to get through to the last 16 tomorrow, and everyone's got 2 lives, so you're only out when you lose for the second time.
Gives you a little bit of freedom, but also so much work to do in the loser's side of the draw. As Craig gets himself 2-0 up. Sean's back at the table. He's 4-1 down here in set 2. Missed his opportunity for a 2-0 lead in the set, and that swung the momentum round, but he's going to hang in there, and who knows what will happen from there. Or 2 in set 2 for Ryan Pisani, having lost the opening set. Still 1-1 in 𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗍𝗏 versus Matt Cook in their deciding set. 𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗍𝗏's completed victory over Rob Chambers, 2-0. 5-4, 5-2 for Hitton. Aaron Davies has completed victory over Zach Shepherd, 2-0 as well. 5-4, 5-0 for Aaron. So a good response to losing yesterday.
Important chance this for Luke. 2-0's okay, 3-0 not so much. A lot of positives as to how he's played in this match. Well, certainly in terms of how he's regrouped after the poor start. It's one of those matches I think it's going to feel like quite a gulf between winning and losing. Both players have had such good chances. They're both going to feel that they could win the match, so whoever doesn't is inevitably going to be disappointed. If you lose a one-sided match, less so, you just regroup and go again and just accept it wasn't your day. Here, it's not really been that easy to pick out a winner at any stage. Only marginally clearer now. First time Craig Waddingham just edging ahead as a favourite.
One red in the middle of the yellows, almost the middle of the triangle area, just feels awkward enough that it could become a problem.
It's a more fiddly pattern than it looked at first glance. You know, the balls looked quite open. That one, as you say, is not actually that accessible.
Quite like bottom right corner here if he's on it, and then the one he's playing now, go left centre. To get on the red, that's I think is the most awkward on the table. He's going the other way around. Well, this red going in the centre pocket helps. I wasn't sure that was available. That does change things. I was thinking it had to go to bottom right corner. So that's why he went the way he did. And he's actually landed very nicely here just to float through.
Seems a long time ago now, that scrappy start to the match. Much better standard of play from both players. And that 8-ball punctuates it. First frame on the board in this set for Luke Mcevoy. Just a single frame behind now.
We're into a deciding set here between Sean Chipperfield and Ryan Pisani. A very good turnaround for the Maltese, and he's got the first opportunity here in the deciding set, although far from a good one.
Tough tough now. If he could have made that cannon, he'd have opened up one of the two problem areas. He's now got problems on the bottom right and the ball tied up on the left-hand side. When you get a chance in a decider, you generally want to try and play positively because you feel like that might be the only chance you get. But it's going to be a tall order from here.
Back to our game, and dry break from Craig Waddingham. Just felt when he went 2-0 up in this set, he just felt that the momentum was all going his way, and you think, oh, we've seen this script before, where a slow start and then the big favourite comes through and wins it at a canter in the decider. But that's not been the case. That previous visit from Luke was a good one, and he's got an opportunity here, albeit a very tricky opening ball, or potentially opening plant. But if this falls in, then the Reds are good.
Good opening pot.
It's not the end of the world, that Red going up, tying itself up with the 8 ball. There's enough balls there just to play another controlled cannon.
The match dynamic has changed. At the beginning, it was almost like Craig Waddingham against himself. He was just struggling to get anything going. Now he's facing pressure, and proper pressure, from his opponent. Luke's played some good stuff, showing that he's more than capable of winning a properly fought match, not just mopping up the scraps. And Luke's own ambitions are bound to have changed. At the beginning he was just scrabbling for the first couple of frames. Now he's much more settled. These kind of decent but not perfect chances, he wants to be getting as close to 100% of them as he can. Got an angle here. If he wants to screw into the 8 ball and the red together, he can drop round behind it.
Just never ever really popped open to be absolute certainties, as he's always needed that extra cannon to redevelop, and that's where he is again. If he comes down the table, then it's potentially a plant, or he's got to find a very good cue ball to get the gap.
It's always been one shot away from this being a good chance. This is the most difficult shot so far.
It's gone for the gap, and that is a beautiful shot. That really is. You wouldn't pick it up with your hand and put it any better than this.
Especially as the pot itself had to be made. It wasn't like you could just focus on the cue ball. Nice angle to pot this and go around the back of the other red for the same pocket. Balls away from getting the match on completely level terms. It's 1 set all. With this 8 ball, it's going to be 2 frames all.
This is a good set. This is a good response from Luke as well. Very, very impressive. 2 visits back to back, and they're all square once again. A long way to go in this set.
Another good advert for the format. Don't know quite how it would have played out if it had been a long frame match, but got itself to a fairly level decider.
This for Ryan is to win the opening frame, and it's going to fall. Oh, he's on that jaw, but it's going to fall in. So 𝗨𝗪𝗀 is going to get himself in front in the match for the first time since he was 1-0 up in the opening frame of the match. 1 set all, 1-0 to 𝗨𝗪𝗀.
Back on level terms. Chance to go ahead here. He breaks off in the 5th frame of this set. Oh, he's going to feel that's a bit unlucky. Ball's pushing towards the left centre, but all just got in the way of each other. That yellow's going in until it gets hit by the red.
one awkward red, but he can get right behind it straight away. Decided against it. I thought he'd play for the red with the yellow. I wonder why he's left that there, because he's now not guaranteed to get good position on it. I just felt he could leave himself, almost guarantee being straight in on that red to top left, and then still come back down to hit the gap he hit just now. Craig's seen a different way. I'm not entirely sure why he's gone this way around. He's shake of the head tells us he's not where he wants to be.
I'm not sure he's sure why he went this way now. It's played like this. Still okay, but it's got a difficult few shots to navigate.
He's got an angle here to float behind it. He's played into it. That was a risky way round. I'm very surprised by that. Craig's normally a player that backs his potting completely, and he wouldn't think twice about a ball like that up to top left. Took a risk and it's worked out beautifully for him.
So perfect, landing the ball straight to the right centre. Meant he can just leave the ball he'd ended up close to and then go back for this remaining one. Still not much between them, but a chance to get ahead.
Very good from Craig Waddingham. What a set we're seeing here. Half the set gone. And 5 run-outs. 3 of them going Wad's way.
Just a totally different match, isn't it? It's just so hard for anybody to get anything going in the first one.
Chippy's at the table in frame 2 of the decider. The other deciding set that's happening right now, Cook and 𝗘𝗃𝗃𝗲𝗿 is going on at a very slow pace. It's only 2-1 to Matt Cook. We were playing that 3rd frame for a very long time. Of course, Clayton's and Matt's match is not on a match clock, whereas Sean and Ryan and Nars is. It's like quirk of Ultimate Pool and the way things are set up. As we're dry in frame 6, giving Luke McEvoy the opportunity.
Been an inconsistent standard of breaking so far in this match. Neither player found a break that's regularly yielding perfect results. I'm saying it's exactly the same table as we've been using in every other Ultimate Pool event this season. Different tables do just break slightly differently.
That's no good for Luke. He's not on anything, I don't think. Can't see the yellow at the top of the table. He is on nothing.
We're annoyed to have slipped so quickly out of position. Depends how much of this yellow he can see as to whether he can play a tight safety. In fact, having to bend it slightly just made it harder to control. Also, not quite as played, wanted to just slip in behind the red.
It was a nice shot to spin that round, but it's gone too far. Not landed nicely on anything again. Awkward plant. Beautiful. And that puts him back in ball in hand position.
Feels like it would be fitting the way this match has gone for it to end up in a tight final set. It's not exactly going with the break, but it's going with the sort of inverse of the break. Chance to get back on level terms for Luke. That's a good shot. Not easy picking out that angle when you have to play it with that much pace. Did well to navigate the ball back across the table. And pretty much the perfect angle here. Just push the ball on and off the cushion, get the cue ball out towards the centre again. Started off as a best of 3 sets and races to 5. It's going to be a best of 3 we finish up with if this ball goes down. So 1 set all, 3 frames all. 11 minutes 30 to play. Maximum of 3 more frames. Plenty of time to get the match done.
Very different set 3 to set 1, isn't it? Very, very different.
Yeah, I mean, that first frame was just inexplicable, wasn't it? To be players of this quality. Craig's still not going to have particularly happy memories of this match, but if he gets over the line, plenty of time to forget that. The winner won't be on again until a bit later on. They'll be through to that winners qualifying round we talked about. The loser will have to get themselves over the other side of the draw and start hustling their way through a few more matches to secure their own qualification path.
And Joe Prince has just got himself through to the winners' qualification round. Very comfortable victory over Tom Jones, 5-1, 5-2 to win 2 sets to 0. And John Rowe has just won the 2nd set in his match as well against Jaden Billingham, 5-3, 3-5 in that one.
Not many more improved players on the circuit right now than Joe Prince. He's had the last few months to remember. Started off in the US, tearing things up in ultimate pool events there, and then has brought the form back to the UK. First season as an ultimate pool professional this side of the Atlantic.
4 straight finals he had in America in the open events. 128 player fields. He made 4 straight finals. Very impressive, winning the 1 title. With some very big name players from American pool playing in the events as well.
It's very much a home event for him as well. He spends a lot of time at Spots and Stripes sister club a few miles up the road in Southwark. Very much part of the Spots family.
Craig's missed that one by a distance. I know it was a very tough opening ball, but that's a bit of a wide, and great opportunity here for Luke Mcevoy to get himself in front at the right time.
Been ahead in this match after winning that first set for quite some time. Obviously all becoming far more important as we near the finishing post. It's turned out pretty well.
Every yellow now has a pocket. Okay, he's got to get to the right side of a couple, but chance is there.
You can see how Luke's a player. I mean, exactly what you were saying at the beginning, that it looks like he's got more to give. He's played some good stuff, and he's done very well to regroup after that start. It feels like he's not quite hit his stride yet. There's room for improvement, which is, I mean, in a very positive sense, because if he's got to this position not playing 100%, there's clearly more to come still.
Definitely a player on the rise, no doubt. Not been playing the game that long. Already playing at a very high level. That one he gets wrong. He's a little short. Connecting this yellow he's on to the next ball is going to be tough. He's hoping the yellow goes past the 8 ball to top left. And it doesn't. I'm having to force it round, and the red now blocks the yellow to bottom right corner. So just that one positional shot where it comes up a roll short. Maybe he got a poor contact. Could cost him here. Can he just drop this in and hold? It looks like he's got too much angle. Played it off the thick part of the jaw and still hasn't quite held.
I was hoping he could just get a glance on that red and hold above it.
Referee will have a keen eye on this one. This is going to be very close to hitting both at the same time. Is it going to end up? No good. Now, referee 𝗨𝗽𝗱𝗃𝗃 actually wants to have a review of this. I think it's fine. Gut feel, real time, and a player would know in this situation as well. I think Luke's happy with it, but 𝗨𝗽𝗃 quite rightly is going to have another look at this one. What was your take in real time, Mark?
Yeah, I mean, I think instinctively it felt like in real time it was okay. It's close though.
Yeah, I think I mean, it's very difficult to tell when it's played at that speed, but it looked good to me. Soft signal we're getting from our referee is that it is good. He just wants to confirm. That's not the shot. This is the one. Yeah, I think we're pretty good there. The 8 ball wouldn't be quite going at that angle if it hit 8 first. It would be going off at a slightly different angle, so I think we're pretty happy. It's not going to change the fact that Luke doesn't really have a shot on this 8 ball.
Yeah, Luke's a bit annoyed with where he is. It's not the fact he was worried about a foul. It's the fact he's now got to play this shot. And if you look at where the reds are, he doesn't make this. He's handing over the table.
Oh, what an effort that is. Wow. Thought he was going to go in off the red if not direct. That was a brilliant effort, but he'll be very disappointed with that visit because they were wide open after his first shot. So to have to try and make that to win the frame, really disappointing from his side of the table, but it gives Craig Waddingham an opportunity to get himself on the hill and have the break.
Saw from that replay, that's so close to just clipping the red, and if it had clipped the red, it would have gone in.
It's Craig's turn to put the 8 ball in a bad spot for him. The red now above the 8 ball. Okay, it goes bottom left, but he's got to work himself to that position and do it all at 15 seconds a shot. He's overhit that one as well. All a bit rushed out there, a bit frantic.
This is pretty much the only format we've ever had where we switch between 15 and 30-second shot clocks. Normally it's just start at 30 and end up at 15. Here, 15 coming into play at the end of each of the 3 sets. Similar problem, but from a more difficult position this time for Luke. He really needs to try and make this 8 ball.
Get solid contact on it, he should. Doesn't go though. Couldn't get it onto the, couldn't sort of play for it top right, so just had to get that solid contact. Not going to make it right centre at that sort of pace, but hit it solid and good things can happen, and they haven't. Craig's going to get a second opportunity to counter. Wrong side of this red, so they can only get the cue ball back to middle of the table.
Looks like the pattern of this set is going to continue. Craig getting a frame ahead and then Luke getting back into it. This time though, Craig's on the hill if he pots these 2 balls.
Gets himself onto the hill with just under 6 minutes to play. He'll have the next break as we just dip across, and Ryan Pisani finds himself 3-1 down in the deciding set. Having taken the opening frame, he has lost the next 3. Similar story to the opening set of the match as well, where he won the first frame and lost the next 5. Ryan will be trying to change that pattern, and he has a chance here in frame 5. All these yellows go. So he would expect to make these. Could be a big finale over there on Arena 2 as we go back to our match, and a slightly poor strike of that break from Craig Waddingham, who's not had the best of run on the break, especially in this 3rd set.
And Luke continue the pattern, behind by the single frame again. If he can find this one, it takes the match not only to a deciding set, but to a deciding frame in that deciding set.
Yellow ball's in play.
Big problem to solve though, and no room to play with. Can't afford another mistake, you feel. Running into trouble. Hasn't got an angle to play the breakout. Not got a good angle to pop the next ball at all.
Forced into desperation measures there, slipped out of good position. So now a chance for 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗵 to get this match closed out.
The cluster is less of a problem for 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗵 as it was for Luke. The reds unfold. He's taken the first one. It now means he can get on the one to bottom left, which opens up the other red. So this is very much a perfect opportunity to win the match.
I mean, what's his emotion going to be after this match? I think relief is going to be the primary one.
Also, I think it's a testament to mental strength, isn't it, to be struggling so much. And he really was struggling as much as, I think I even said that it's as poor a performance as we've seen from 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗵 with ultimate pool. But just to hang in there, start to find the cue ball, start to find the touch, and turn this one around has been a brilliant performance. Now he's on the brink.
It's not been his A game, but the last two sets have been closer to it. If you just saw the last two sets, you wouldn't say it was a vintage performance, but it's certainly been a competent one. This timing should work out pretty well for him. I think he'll probably benefit from having a bit of time away from the table after this, just regroup. And if he can find these last three balls, he'll be coming back tonight for the winners qualifier match.
Perfect position here, 2 balls away. A great turnaround in this match. Decides to play for the 8 ball into the corner, lands perfectly on it. And 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗵 has turned this one around. Luke Mcevoy had his opportunities, got himself in front but couldn't put them away. And 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗵 responds well to a very disappointing start to the match, and he gets himself into the winners qualification round a little bit later on. Luke Mcevoy is going to have to go into the losers side and fight his way back into the tournament. We're going to hear from 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 in a minute. Before I do that, I can just update you and let you know that Ryan Pisani has won that frame we were keeping an eye on, so he's back within 1 in their deciding set with 𝗨𝗃𝗃𝗃. We'll keep an eye on that.